What's up, guys? This is Mental Dude, and today we're going to be reacting to a couple of videos from people saying things like Pokemon are evil and satanic. I totally did not steal this idea off someone else. Totally not. This is a totally original idea. Yeah. Now, I love Pokemon. It should be apparent, literally. Well, actually, for once, I'm not wearing any, Oh, wait, correction, I am. In fact, I'm actually wearing a Pokemon top right now. You just can't see it. And I played a lot of Pokemon games. And this also talks about Minecraft, a game that I also enjoyed playing, because fuck you, I actually enjoy playing Pokemon and Minecraft. I don't fucking care if they class as childish. Excuse me, I like them. But yeah.
And as you read in the Pokemon, in order for Pokemon to advance in power, it has to evolve to another level. And each, evolution, he becomes more demonic in appearance. And eventually he gets to a point where he is totally demonic. And these are all Oriental demons. The names are actually names of demons.
I'll tell you all, be careful what you let your kids have, what you let them listen to. Isn't there a guitar that's called something Hero?
Yeah, that's a new thing that they're coming out, and the kids are getting really addicted to it. There's another game out that we just recently found out, very addicting, is Minecraft. You go into this thing and build a world of your own. And these kids are... we had to step in on my own grandsons because they're getting addicted to it. You build these worlds and you put these different things in it that you want. And they'll play, these children will play it for hours and they'll compete against each other. And it's not necessarily occultic, but it's distracting. That's all they can think about.
You do realize the point of... This guy doesn't understand the point of a video game. Minecraft isn't... Yeah, Minecraft... I will admit, I do play Minecraft for several hours at times. But it's usually just to give me something to do while I watch YouTube, because I like to, play games. Sometimes I play Pokemon, sometimes I play Minecraft while watching YouTube. Yeah, I just turn the volume off. It's not that hard. It's kind of fun to just go around and build stuff while, you just listen to some people speak. It can actually be quite relaxing. I wouldn't really call it addicting. To be honest, usually when I spend hours, it's because I've been building something. Like when I built a bootleg Hogwarts-esque building on top of a mountain on a creative world. It took me so long because I had to get the terrain ready, or when I built a walled city on another creative world. Once again, a large area, took me a while to, get the land and then actually build the wall. Yeah, it takes a bit of time to get preparations done. Yeah, but there are some people who get addicted, but I wouldn't really call it addicting. And I just enjoy it.
And then, they don't go back to read their Bibles or study the Word because they're hooked on these things. Just be careful what you let your children
Well, another
watch.
place, we were in Myrtle Beach a few years ago, and now they have one in Pigeon Forge. It's called Magic Quest. And what that is you go and you use the magic wand to go through in each of the rooms. Oh, yes.
They teach you how to use the
that magic wand to get through each door and to use it over the dragons. Yes, dragon is a spirit. Yes, we've seen it. Okay, these are real deal. And my heart is to be able to come up with a game that will teach the young people how to use the sword of the word. That's it, sword of the spirit, sword of the word. Okay.
Yes, but magic is enjoyable, fantasy is enjoyable. And I don't know what they were talking about just then, but from what I can guess, it was possibly some interactive thing, similar to the Harry Potter thing in Universal, like where you have a wand and then interactive element. That's just a bit of fun.
Over that which you have dominion and authority over. So when I started to see magic, because you don't know, and another form of deception, but another form of entertainment for our kids. Shared your testimony. What happened when you went home?
We had, in our front yard, we had a big pecan tree, and they had hung over 100 ravens by the neck on the tree.
They hung them. The cult came one night, hung over 100 ravens by the neck in the tree.
As a warning to us to keep our mouth shut. And
so what did you do? Have someone come clean it out and just say?
No, we cut them up and put the dead bodies in the trash bags and got rid of them. Witches going through the city that night, and one of their people was stabbed, and they didn't know what to do, so we brought them into the church, offered them coffee and hot chocolate, and had the privilege of leading 28 of them to the Lord.
That is awesome.
That's the power.
That's the power. The power of the
God.
blood of Jesus.
Yes.
Amen.
Sounds like a fucking cult. That's the power. The question is, do I do a KKK joke or a Nazi joke? It's religion, so I've got to be careful, but fuck you. Heil Jesus. Yes.
Rick Wiles is a fundamentalist Christian radio host. His show is ironically called True News, and he has some thoughts for us here on the game Pokemon Go.
These Pokemon creatures are like virtual cyber demons.
Yes, digital demons.
Digital demons. Now, what if we find out the demon and the blood of Jesus Christ takes care of both of them?
Hello, everybody. My name is Rhett, and welcome back to the Dead Show.
Okay, now I know what's gonna happen.
Now, a lot of things come over from the Orient. And some things have a big impact on us, and some things don't. I can't think of anything that come over from the Orient that actually had a big impact or a phenomenon-type craze other than Godzilla. But there is something new that's come over to the United States and has actually captured the minds and the imagination of every single child. And you know what? It's not new at all. Japanese kids have been watching this thing since 1995. It started out as a cartoon, went to a comic book.
Actually, that's incorrect. As in actual fact, it was the games that came out first. The games came out, then the anime, then the manga. So he's actually completely wrong. It was actually basically the entire franchise is based off the video games. Yeah. It went red, blue, and green, with red and blue being brought over to the West, with green remaining to this day a Japanese exclusive. Later on down the line, yellow was created, but around about the same time, but just before yellow was created, the anime came out. Then in 1997, the Pokemon Adventures manga came out. Yeah. Which, love that for you, I was shocked to find out that Pokemon Adventure manga is still going on to this day. Yeah.
They made it into a video game, went to toys, collectible card game. Now, praise God, there's even a movie on it. And it was started in 1990.
The irony, you can tell how old this this clip is. Oh, now there's even a movie on it. Yeah, there's like 22, 23 movies now. One of them being live action.
25. It's not new, and it stands for Pocket Monster. And it even made the cover of Time magazine.
Yeah.
Now, the first thing I want you to notice is, do you notice any symbol up there that you've seen before? The spiral. And it stands for what? Male fertility.
What?
Okay. Now, this thing is actually called Polyworld, but they
Actually, the spiral is a reference to the creature that Polyworld is based off. In fact, it's the creature that the entire line is based off, which is a type of tadpole that is actually transparent. And in this tadpole, you can actually see its insides.
had another name for it before they renamed it. When this creature first came out, it was called Hypno.
No, it wasn't. It was actually called Aquanaut. So, yeah, that's complete bullshit.
And they changed how that would happen. That starts spinning around, and it's just like one of those hypnotic wheels that down here. And this is an interesting character over here. This character over here is called Mewtwo. And Mewtwo looks like an alien. If you look at him real carefully, he looks like an alien. But you know, the first thing that I noticed about that thing is, when I looked at it, and I looked at those eyes, I said, you know what? That kind of looks like the things that we used to pray to inside that circle. Now you notice that he has a particular salute that he's given. And he's in this pose. Every time that you see Mewtwo, he's in this pose. Now he has 3 fingers. Those 3 fingers are always sticking out like that. Now he doesn't have 5 fingers like we do. He has 3. But if they were the 3 on us, they'd be this. And that doesn't mean hook 'em horns. Doesn't mean I love you. Doesn't mean one more. It means hail Satan. It's the satanic salute that all Satanists
Actually, I would compare Mewtwo's hand closer to the live long and prosper salute thing from Star Trek. You know, where you basically split your... But plus, Mewtwo's not even like... Yeah.
identify themselves with. Is it bad for them? What we need to look at is whether or not that particular statement holds true. Is it bad for them?
No.
Here's one of the characters. Cute little one. Everybody go, oh, come on. I know you wanted to do that, see? That's why I did that. He's cute. But the one thing I've noticed about him right off, this is Pikachu, one thing I noticed about him right off was his tail. It's a lightning bolt, and it's a satanic Z. It even comes down here to a point. Now, just by looking at him alone is not enough to really be able to say, okay, yeah, that's bad, or that's satanic. What we first need to do is we need to look at the actual production of these things. And the first thing we need to do is we need to look at who actually produced the trading card game that has captured the minds and the imaginations of our children. Now, it doesn't make any difference what I say, it's what their own material says, because their own material will give them away. Okay? So I'm going to read to you, here's the direct quote from the web pages of the producer of this game. Listen to this. The Pokemon trading card game is a new collectible card game that is made and distributed by Wizards of the Coast. What is a wizard? Male practitioner of black magic. Wizards of the Coast, the same company that made the best-selling game Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering is a heavily occult-laced trading card game.
Okay. Okay, it's just a name. Plus, Yeah, complaining about a company that also makes another thing. Like, I'm going to use manga as an example. For instance, let's just choose two mangas. Actually, who released Comic Con Communique, actually? 1 second. Wait, that's Viz Media. Okay, that works. Okay, take Comic Con Communique, just to prove that argument that, oh yeah, a company making another thing is, yeah, this just debunks it. I'm going to use manga and the company Viz Media, which translates, I think they're responsible for like translating them, manga. They're responsible for translating manga. Well, not all of it. They're one of the companies that do it. They translate it into English and then distribute it. I'm going to use two examples. Komi Can't Communicate, a friendly manga about a girl who just has a communication disorder and her quest to make 100 friends. Seriously, it's totally like, wow, it's literally just a girl getting help from someone to make 100 friends, and she's adorable. It's so innocent and nothing wrong with it. Now let's choose another manga. All You Need Is Kill, Death Note, Assassination Classroom, Blue Exorcist. In fact, all those ones that I just noted were actually all from Shonen Jump, except Komi Can't Communicate. But they were all released by, yeah. In fact, little fact for you, as a matter of fact, Pokemon Adventures is also distributed by Viz Media. So yeah, just because a company does one thing does. I'm trying to think of some video game examples, but I'm struggling with that. Yeah, but just because a company makes one thing doesn't. Yeah. Seriously, just because a company makes one thing doesn't mean it, yeah.
Which has been very popular in the 90s. And I should also tell you that Wizards of the Coast also owns a subsidiary company named TSR, and TSR is the company that puts out all Dungeons and Dragons material. So let's look at Magic the Gathering, because this is the same company that puts out Pokemon. So let's see where they're coming from.
Not anymore.
Now, from seeing the symbols, you're a roll. And remember, it's how many know that the mind is a very fragile. The danger of dragons, a dungeon person, this is a dungeon master. The object is, as long as your purpose was for the last 10 to 12 years was playing Dungeons and Dragons, so your character gets knocked off, guess what? So do you. So you notice that there's counters up here. In other words, this stands for 2 points. And it says Cabal Ghoul. Here's another Magic, and said that the teacher had decided to use Magic the Gathering, this card game, as a new and exciting way to teach mathematics in school, in their class. And they even formed what was called a Magic Club, and that all the kids were part of this Magic Club. Well, the mother said, well, you're not going to become a part of that. You're not going to be in that. But one of the kids had given him one of the cards, and that card he showed to his mother. And that card was called Necromancer. And on that card, it showed spiritual beings actually being risen up out of the ground, out of their grave. And then he asked his mother, what does summon mean? And she said, why do you ask that? And she said, he told her, he said, because all the kids on recess go outside on the school grounds, pick up huge sticks, wave them in the air, and say, spirits, enter me.
Yes, but summon can also be used to describe a person. For instance, a maid might go up to her master and say, "You summoned me." It can also be used to describe, calling someone, like, "I will summon so and so at once." Like, yeah, it's an old style way, but summon can be used to call someone. It's just a more posh way.
True. This is All Hallows Eve. Again, 2 points symbolized by 2 skulls. Here's your demonic black cat. I guess it's a black cat. I've never seen anything look like that. During your upkeep, and when you remove the last counter from All Hallows Eve, all players take all creatures behind him over here and puts out Dungeons and Dragons, puts out the characters of this particular program, and they are the kind of role models that we want our kids to be watching. In other words, if this whole game, the characters of this game, the monsters, this whole premise of this thing actually goes to establish the kind of values, the kind of standards, and the kind of morals that we want our kids to have when they reach adulthood, that it's okay. In other words, if they actually help to establish the kind of morals, values, and standards that we want our children or our grandchildren to have when they get to be an adult, that it must be all right. Can we agree on that?
Yes.
Okay. So what we need to do is we need to examine and see what kind of role models we have in this game. Now, what we need to do then, everybody go, "Oh," again. Oh, I know, he's cute, isn't he? Little satanic tail. Up here is the Pokemon ball. Okay, that's this thing here. Okay, and inside of that, you catch the Pokemon. Let the camera get a view of that. That's the Pokemon ball, and you actually catch the monster inside of that thing and harness the power in there. And then you can call on that power to regenerate itself outside of that ball, and praise God, it turns into a bigger and better monster. Now, we're told that there are 150 species of these particular creatures on the face of the earth. And we're also told in the material that these pocket monsters are creatures that inhabit the world with humans. And that they can evolve and grow, and if you catch them all, you become a Pokemon master. Listen, parents, that word master will appeal to any child because they can become a somebody. They can become a master. And you know what? If you're the master of something, you don't need mom, you don't need dad, you don't need grandparents, you don't need aunts and uncles, you don't need school, and you probably don't even need a church because you're a master. You can become a god.
No, a master is someone... I don't know the exact dictionary definition, but it's something along the lines of... Actually, I'm just gonna Google it. And we're back. Okay, so I googled the definition of master. Master, a man who has people working for him, especially so. Okay. Yeah, having or showing very great skill or proficiency. Principal, master. Yeah. Acquired complete knowledge of master in a skill. You get the gist. I believe I won't see my search history because it's pretty weird. Don't ask. Oh yeah, while we're here, have you seen how many episodes of Peppa Pig there are? 420. 420. Yeah, man. And the dog's barking.
That's the premise of what this has been teaching. You become the Pokemon master. That's the whole premise, and the whole German 10-year-old who's a little too competitive, and he's obsessed with catching all Pokemon and driven to become the world's foremost Pokemon master. And you know, every time that your children watch this program, whether it's a video, whether it's a cartoon, whether it's a comic book, no matter what it is, they hear this mantra, this rap song that's played over again. And it says, I will travel across the land searching far and wide, each Pokemon to understand the power that's inside. And then it's enchanted to them. Gotta catch them all. Over and over and over and over again. You know what it does? It fuels your child's craving for more cards, more books, more...
Warning, if you're a Christian, leave now because what I'm about to say might offend you. Okay, now that they're gone. What about hymns? What about repeating the Bible over and over again? Isn't that technically doing the same thing? You can tell I'm not religious, can't you?
Videos, more movies. It's designed to do that. That's what we call enchanting. Here's the next character. This is Misty. Look at this. Now this is off of a comic book. This is actually a page of a comic book. But if this was clear, if this was actually clear, you'd see that that's a halter top. It stops right there. And she's got short shorts on. And you know she's got to be about the same age as what Ash is. Okay? And she's described as Ash's companion, and listen to what it says about her. She's headstrong and stubborn, constantly arguing with Ash. Typical woman. No, just kidding. God forgive me, all right. Frivolous spirit, that's what it was. And here's Brock over here in the corner, and Brock is by far the most hormonal, because his fascination with the opposite sex many times gets him or the group in trouble. Well, then there's Pokemon trainer Gary.
I would like to know that Brock is technically slightly older than Ash and Misty, with Ash being 10, Misty being about, 11 or 12, and Brock's about 15. So, yeah.
And Gary's not pictured in here, but Gary is a real self-centered jerk. He's vindictive and he's obnoxious. And then there are two characters, and one's called Jesse, and the other one's called James. And listen to what it says about them. It says, prepare for trouble, make it double. Jesse and James are an evil gang looking to steal rare Pokemon. Jesse and James are stuck up, fashion conscious, and you know what? In the program, they're also prone to cross-dressing. Now, if you don't know what that means that if you feel like you're a woman in a man's body, you wear women's clothing.
No, that is so wrong. He's getting cross-dressing mixed up with transgender. What he's describing here is being transgender. Cross-dressing is just where you wear clothes of the opposite sex. Now, I will admit, I have worn my sister's clothes before, but I do not wish to be a girl. This was years ago, though. It's just a bit of fun. Like, there's nothing wrong with wearing clothes of the opposite sex. Yeah. It can be a bit of fun sometimes. But he's pretty much not, but he's not describing cross-dressing, he's describing being transgender.
You dress like one. If you're a woman who feels manly, you wear men's underclothing and dress like one. Cross-dressing. Oh, what kind of role model would that be? Okay, now remember at the first, I think that's enough right here, because I think we've got a pretty well good establishment on this thing. Remember that I said that if the characters were the kind of role models that established the kind of values, standards, and morals that we wanted our kids to have when they got to be an adult, that this game or this particular thing is okay. Remember we said that? Okay, so let's examine what we got. Let's see. Headstrong, stubborn, quibbling, self-centered, vindictive, obnoxious, hormonal, sexually preoccupied, evil, thieving, cross-dressing jerks. No. I don't know about you, but I mean, even if I wasn't a Christian parent, I wouldn't want my kids to grow up with those kind of traits. Then we have to actually say that the characters of this game don't biblically stand up, do they? In other words, they don't represent the kind of values and standards we want our kids to have. And they're definitely not the role models we want our kids to be. But these are the characters that our children are identifying with day after day after day, playing this game, watching the cartoon, reading the books, looking at the videos. Now, we're also told that these actual beings have supernatural abilities. In other words, they can evolve and grow into bigger and better monsters. Here, MEU, he's kind of cute. And this is Mewtwo over here, complete with his satanic salute. And if you notice, that pose is always given with the left hand. That's significant. Remember the left-hand path? And we're told that they get bigger and better. Of course, that's what we always want. Bigger and better monsters. That's what the world needs. And we're told that they get bigger and better through the use of energy. Now, a funny thing happened. Well, actually it wasn't funny, but an interesting thing happened when this movie, the Pokemon, was actually first released in Japan. I want you to see it. This is from CNN. Look at this. Because this is very highly unusual. Japanese cartoon triggered.
This wasn't the movie. Yeah, this is misinformation. This did happen, but it wasn't actually for the movie. It was for the episode, The Electric... No, wait, no. Electric Porygon Assault. It was actually an episode of the anime called Electric Soldier Porygon. And ironically, it was actually Pikachu that caused it, so...
Seizures in least over in Japan. The bright flashing lights of a popular TV cartoon became a serious matter Tuesday evening when they triggered seizures in hundreds of Japanese children. In a national survey, the Tokyo Fire Department found that at least 618 children had suffered convulsions, vomiting, irritated eyes, and other symptoms. We are shocked to hear many children were taken to hospitals or remote off in occasion, seizures and convulsions in kids or even adults that are prone to be epileptic. But not in 100 and so kids who have no seizure problem and no epileptic history. There's something unusual about that. And they went through, and it goes on further to say that they went through and even did CAT scans. And the whole premise was that at the end, they had to conclude that they don't know why it happened. Is that by coincidence? Or did something happen that they can't explain?
Everything he says with a grain of salt, because he has actually got a little bit of misinformation so far. So with shit like this, you gotta take it with a grain of salt.
Energized by an energy ball. And now you notice he's not quite so cute anymore, and his little satanic tail is really erect. And now parents, if you're not up on Pokemon, you need to be. And one of the things you can do is go out and buy the official Pokemon trading card game Player's Guide. And you can get this at any store that sells any of the Pokemon stuff. I mean anything. You can get it like at Toys R Us or any of those places that sell any of the Pokemon. And it says on the back of this, catch them all, then build an unbeatable tournament deck. And one of the things you can do is look through here because it shows every Pokemon in existence, and it tells you what their powers are, and it tells you how they get weak, and it tells you how they energize and what you need to energize them. But something very unusual is also in this book, and that is that they actually show the energy balls that is used to make these monsters bigger and better. I want you to see them. I hope you can see them from where I am. I'm going to hold it out here so hopefully you can see it. Look at the yellow. What do you see?
Lightning bolt.
Lightning bolt. Look here. All-seeing eye. Everybody see that? Up here is the clenched fist. Symbol for rebellion, anarchy.
No fighting.
Right down here is a powerful witchcraft symbol where my finger is. Powerful witchcraft symbol, and it's a symbol for fire.
Exactly, fire. It's literally just fire.
Down here is another powerful witchcraft symbol. Actually, a New Age symbol. They call a New Age symbol for earth.
It's a leaf.
Okay, which is a green leaf. And down at the bottom here, this blue ball down in here is the symbol for energy of water. And water transforms into wind. Earth, wind, and fire, the three basic elements of all witchcraft.
No, that's flying.
Coincidence. Do you think they just built this game, put these on there, and said, hey, let's just put those symbols on there, they look cool. Kids won't know what they are, but they'll like them because they look cool. Or did they put them on there because they know what the meaning of each one of those symbols is? And they want to desensitize our children to seeing those symbols so much that when they see them in other things, hey.
It's kind of bad that he's thinking of this from a Western perspective. Like this, the original trend, like Pokemon originates from Japan, where there's, there are Christians, but it's not as prominent. Also, this is just a load of bullshit.
No big deal. There's a war going on right now for the children because Satan wants them really bad. Who better to serve the Antichrist than the youth? Symbols in their spirits. Got to put these monsters in their heads. Got to mess up their dreams. Got to mess up their reality. Got to break up this Pokemon. And you know what? It's amazing that your child can tell you every Pokemon in existence, even tell you where they get their power, what they do, and how they do it, but they can't tell you what you told them 5 minutes ago. They also can't tell you probably what they learned in school that day.
Yeah,
and even worse than that, they can't quote you scripture. There's something wrong.
That last one. And they can't quote your scripture. Who fucking gives a shit? Yeah? Who gives a shit if they can quote some bogus bit of bullshit? God, I'm probably offending so many people, but I genuinely do not care.
And I'm talking to the men right now because, you know, men, we've been given an awesome task by God. We have nothing to say about it. You know why? God tells us that we're the priest of our homes. We are the ones who say, we are going to follow God. I don't care what anyone else does, but as for me and my family, we are going to serve the Lord. We are the ones...
the irony in the fact that he's saying that the kids are going to want to follow Satan. Oh, don't follow this entity of evil. Because we already follow an entity of evil. Yeah, because in the Bible, God killed people. And also kicked Adam and Eve out because they ate food. Yeah. Lilith's better. I prefer Lilith. Should be Adam and Lilith. As I'm saying that, seeing how that ended. Yeah, I'm trying to reference Neon Genesis Evangelion. That's a good anime.
You are supposed to say, this stuff is going to be allowed, and your children in the ways of the Lord. Not in the ways of these Pokemon, not Hunter. And I talked to 3 kids in 3 different cities who actually came up and told me that they were having bad dreams, and that creature was in their dreams. Called Haunter. That makes sense. Haunt. Right up here is a creature that's not quite so cute now. This over here is not quite so cute. Little Pikachu down here, he's crying his eyes out. He's not cute, and even Ash doesn't look cute anymore. Psychic surprise. And you know, going back to those energy balls, I believe that those energy balls represent that the Pokemon get their power by supernatural occult ability. You saw the symbols. Remember, the materials speak for itself. They give themselves away. And what made that even more evident was 2 cards. One was called Abra, and the other card is called is called cadabra. Abracadabra. And that's an actual phrase. It's an actual name. Listen to this. Webster's Dictionary defines it as a word supposed to have magic powers and hence used in incantations, on amulets, etc., a magic spell or formula. And on the Abra card, it says, using its ability to read minds, it will identify impending danger and teleport the user to safety. The Cadabra character has a pentagram on his forehead. And he has SSS across his chest. And it is the satanic SSS. And in my particular sect of Satanism, we didn't have it, but I ran into other groups that did. They had tattoos on the inside of their wrist, over their breasts, or on the inside of their thigh, and it was that same SSS. You know what it stands for? Satan's solemn servant. And also, the Cadabra character is always pictured on the card with his left hand giving the satanic salute. And again, I have to ask you, do you think that's on there by coincidence? Do you think they just made this game and said, hey, let's just throw that in there because it looks good? Let's just throw that in there because it makes it look a little more exciting. Or did they put that in there because they know exactly what it means and they want our children to get desensitized to it? And what are they actually hailing? Satan. Listen, our kids are carrying around these cards like they're magic symbols, and they are taught to believe that they can call on the powers of these cards anytime they want to. And I ask you, do you believe that our kids believe they have power? Or do you think that this is just nothing but talk? Because if they don't believe that it has power, why are we seeing time after time after time news clips about our kids beating each other up on school grounds, even stabbing each other over Pokemon cards? Look at this. Quebec teen stabbed at school over Pokemon cards. This was in Montreal. And this was a 12-year-old student that tried to help his younger brother after his younger brother had his Pokemon card deck stolen from him. And he went over to these young men to get the cards back, and one of the boys pulled out a 4-inch knife and stabbed him with it. Look at this. Boy attacks teacher over Pokemon. Here in Lakeland, Florida, there was a young boy who had a deck of Pokemon cards, and he was passing them around the class, and the woman teacher noticed that they were paying more attention to Pokemon than they were her. So she waited for the deck to get back to this young man, and then she walked over and grabbed that deck out of his hand. He got up and struck her dead in the face with his fists. And of course, he got called in on the principal's carpet in the office, and they called for the parents. The parents came to pick him up, and you know what he told his father? They were trying to steal my powers. Our kids are taught to believe that these things actually have supernatural ability, and that they can call on them anytime they want to because their material states that. In this book, it tells your child, you have the power at your fingertips, so use it. And that's what they're doing. Witchcraft, and it's put in a child's form, designed to attack the child and the parents and the entire family that this thing is associated with. That's exactly what it's designed to do, and that's what it does. Pokemon is a step to bigger and better things in the occult. And I have to wonder sometime when a grade school child is going to do what the Weeping Bell Razor Leaf Pokemon card says. It says this: it spits out poison powder to immobilize the enemy and then finishes the enemy with a spray of acid. And these cards cost anywhere from $7 to $9 per single pack. And there are report after report of children going into their parents' pocketbook and stealing money to go out and buy.
Yeah, it only costs $7 to $9. Considering the fact that nowadays a packet of Pokemon cards in the UK costs £4. Now, I don't know how much that is, but let's just say that. But let's, for the sake of art, like, this was back in the 90s, and this was before code cards were included, and accounting for inflation, they would have probably only cost a couple of dollars. not 7 to 9. Unless they're talking about booster packs and stuff like that.
These cards. What is the purpose? What is the magic that's behind the whole game of Pokemon? I think by looking at it in that realm and looking at it the way that we've looked at it, I don't see it as being something that is beneficial to our children. I don't see it as being something that's going to help our family grow. And I sure don't see it as something that's going to help get the child established in the ways of the Lord. This is totally the opposite. Remember that the whole goal in all of these role-playing games, and especially in Pokemon, is to become the master.
What a load of bullshit. Okay, well, I'm going to wrap up the video there, so I'll see you later.
Google Pixel 4 with all-day battery. It charges fast and adapts to how you